Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. Now, the second Masonic education video that I wanted to do for the month of July 2023 is the aspect of the Masonic Egregore and how it affects you as an active member versus as a demitted or resigned member. So, most of you who have followed my story know that I have been on both sides of the fence as the first person in my family to become a Freemason and also following my Sufi Islamic path at the same time. And I've been a Freemason for almost 8 years, and I've experienced Freemasonry in more than one country, in more than one jurisdiction. I've been Master Mason, Royal Arch Shriner, 32nd, and I have basically been around the block. Someone who's entered it, left it, came again, left it, and that kind of scenario. And also experiencing it in more than one country and jurisdiction. While majority of the Masons who join in America, once they join, like they're there forever until death. They continuously are active, paying dues and things like that. So they haven't experienced what I've experienced and how I detail different sides of the fence on what I felt. Right, so I represent myself only. I do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or opinion. My channel and myself, it's just me as a true man, as a free man under free speech. So thank you, and I hope you're able to benefit from it. So the aspect of egregore is like this occult energy or influence in your life, right? So those that are active Freemasons, and those that are, let's say, even if they don't attend lodge but they still pay dues but maintain the membership by being an active part of the organization, there are certain things which I have experienced myself and how what I've seen others experience. So I wrote down a list of the things of how the egregore affects you as an active member. So the first is you start having health problems, right? You have decline in health, and most of these guys or most Masons that you know are experiencing some kind of a health issue, right? Most of them are always in some kind of a hospital or something's going on with them. So that's one of the way the egregore kind of affects you, that energy, that unseen energy or force that affects you in terms of your health. The second way that I've seen it affect people is drugs or alcohol. So most guys, they like to drink. So alcohol becoming a part of their lives and how it's not good for you anyway, it leads down to other roads. The third thing that I saw is being promiscuous, where a lot of these guys are addicted to porn and sex. They're pornoholics and sexaholics, and they're masturbating a lot. And those that get affected by any of these occult egregoric energies do fall into that trap. Some cheat on their wives too, but pretend to be good people. Financial issues. You'll see a lot of Masons that are struggling financially a lot, no matter what country you look in. Most of these guys are struggling financially, or they're having some kind of job troubles. I mean, the ones that get buddy with like the inner cliques and the higher ups, they end up prospering. Let's say they get a favor or they have something that helps them in terms of career wise or opportunity wise, but majority of the guys are like the hamster in a wheel, right? They're in this continuous loop and they're suffering from financial issues. They're having alcohol issues, health issues, right? Problems with health, family, mental health, and all that in between, and being promiscuous. And of course, you have the inner circle, the guys at the top, who only stick with their own and deal with their own. While you have your neighborhood Mason, let's say he's a lodge officer, he pays his dues, he never got in trouble, worshipful master, past master, all that. But there is that certain reality where you're not able to cross. Like you have appendant bodies which you cannot petition to. You have to be invited into those specific circles. So most of the guys that you run into are your average neighborhood porch masons. And I'm somebody who's, like I said, I've seen things from both sides of the fence in more than one country and jurisdiction, as somebody who's been active and somebody who's been demitted. And those that demit, because a lot of these guys, like if, let's say, I mean, especially with my channel, if because I'm covering and teaching stuff about Freemasonry that none of these other guys are. And what is the core teaching of Freemasonry? To be a good person, be a good human being, follow a path that makes you a better man, a better woman, to believe in God and a supreme being, to perfect your rough ashlar, the first degree. The aspect is trust God and fear no danger. The second is about the arts and sciences and about increasing your knowledge and knowing God is always watching you. The third, the immortality of the soul and knowing that you're going to die one day. So all of these things and aspects are there, and these are things that if you follow any other religion or philosophy, it can teach you that. And also, for the record, Freemasonry is not a religion. So most Masons, once they get stuck into that egregore, you got to have some kind of a spiritual protection and discipline to not fall into that, where these things that I've listed do not affect you, like how it has not affected me, right? But I have seen it how it has affected others who were weak, because that alchemical brotherhood, it does separate the wheat from the chaff. So you got to be strong and have some kind of a spiritual practice where you're not falling into these traps of bad habit and how it might destroy you. So that's not with only Freemasonry, but with other initiatic paths, you will experience the same thing, right? So moving on, you'll have sleep deprivation and insomnia, issues having a restful sleep. Most Masons, you'll know, they're always awake. They're having trouble falling asleep. They'll be awake till the wee hours or late night hours. So you have that issue as well that you'll run into. And going down, the most guys you'll run into, not everyone, overweight, money issues, drinking alcohol, masturbating a lot, watching porn, cheating on their wives, health issues, addiction issues. Some of them might not be paying their mortgages properly because of money issues. They might be experiencing health issues. Families might be falling apart. So this initiatic path, it does bring an egregore into your life. And if you are not strong enough, and it will rip you to shreds. And I'm somebody who has entered it, exited it, entered it again, exited one country, other country, more than one state, one jurisdiction, 8 years almost, and been through the ranks and been through all of the stuff. So I do have a little bit of idea through my own personal experience of what the hell I'm talking about. So I would advise anybody who enters any initiatic path, first be strong enough in your own skin, where you have a spiritual practice, and the lessons of these paths, what it's teaching you, I've already laid it out in my videos and presentations. You don't need to join any lodge for you to learn this stuff. It's all out there in the open. Most of these lodges are, once you become a member, you're just attending business meetings, wearing a suit, and spending time away from your family, and you're not really gaining anything from it, right? So it's those guys, the top 1%, who get into the inner circles of the higher ups. The rest are just stuck in a hamster and a wheel loop process for the rest of their lives. But there's certain realities where you are not allowed to pierce through unless that door is specifically open for you or you're specifically invited, where you cannot ask for it. But that's how it is. Even in Sufism, you have the Zahir and the Batin, the inner and outer Islam, where you have the outer Islam, which is going to the mosque, the 5 pillars, praying 5 times a day, giving charity, going to Hajj, fasting in Ramadan, and things like that. But then you have the inner Islam, which is Sufism, right? And those are like the most occult secrets and knowledge you will find deep, deep into the Sufi rabbit hole. And in any rabbit hole you go, it does not have any ending. It's just I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't know anything. But with what I put out so far, I put it out from what my heart has experienced. And I hope with all the years that I've been on this YouTube channel, I've been able to benefit you all in some way. So, in terms of when I was an active member, right, I've experienced these things, what I've listed. And when I was not active, I did not experience them. My health was good, my money was good. But those that chose to stay active on this path, like myself and others, you must have a solid spiritual background and practice for you to have that divine protection around you. So it's like myself, I have to be a part of it for me to change it from the inside out. And I have made a difference. Many American Masons who were ignorant about Islam and Sufism, I've opened up their eyes, giving lectures and presentations in lodges, online, in person. How many of them came to me who had a negative perception of Islam? How many Muslims who had a negative perception of Masonry realized that the teachings are very similar in terms of what Islam, Sufism teaches and what Freemasonry teaches. So I do have to play a role. But in terms of how the egregore affects you if you're not strong enough, I got to point that out as well. So this video not everybody might not agree with it, but I cover stuff that no one else dares to cover. For those of you that always stick by me, you know I always go into uncharted territories, and that's how I always been, because that's what the true seeker does. And I do not represent any Grand Lodge. I'm just myself. So also keep that in mind, and know that any path you pursue in life, as long as it's helping you become a better person, getting close to God, improving yourself in all ways possible, then that's the path for you, right? But also keep in mind, any path that hurts you or declines you in any way, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, it's not for you. So also keep that in mind in what I'm trying to teach you in this video. Alright, so the title of this video will be How the Masonic Egregore Affects You as an Active Member versus as a Demitted Member. And of course, I would say, this is my opinion, that the majority of Freemasons today, basically the temple, are ruffians. And even George Washington even complained, or he would have this issue that the fraternity would get infiltrated by outside forces. Most of these guys, if you find out where their memberships are besides Freemasonry, they might belong to groups and organizations which are not compatible with Masonic values, right? They might be part of chaos orders or magic orders or something, other stuff that contradicts what Masonry is about God, about light, about being a better person, being a good person of the light, and all of that in between. So keep that in mind also. And if you're not part of the inner circle clique, then you're hamster in the wheel, regardless of being a good member, 32nd degree, worshipful master, paying dues, and all of that in between. And the egregore does kind of affect you in terms of health, finances, and in other ways. But you can, if you choose to do so, you can demit as a member in good standing, right, before they try to make things difficult for you in any way, with your honor intact, and continue to follow your own personal path. So you do have that choice as well for those who are affected by anything that I have mentioned. So keeping this video short and to the point, I hope you were able to benefit from it. Follow a path in your life that does not affect you in any way, but also helps you become a better person and a good person. So thank you so much, and I hope you've been able to enjoy the second video for the Masonic Education month of July 2023. Thank you so much.